and now he wants to pull it off. And I heard it was god awful.
It was awful.
Oh, yeah.
Just god awful.
I didn't finish that
You
one.
know, it was forced, like forced comedy. I've worked on movies. See, they say once you see behind the curtain. But I've worked, like, I got it when I was shooting The Longest Yard, and I thought it was very embarrassing. I got it that how the staff has to keep your spirits high while you're shooting a movie. So they have to clap after every scene. They have to be, it's like when you go to the Improv, and there's a comic up in, like, San Francisco or somewhere artsy, his friends come, and they clap and they laugh differently so you can hear the, ha! You know, ha! You know, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't laugh. I'd rather you don't do shit. Don't do that. It just sounds shitty, you know? That's the same kind of fake laughter on sets. You know, and I would watch it, and I studied that shit. I love movies. But then when I started doing movies, then you start watching the marketing of the movies. And what they actually, I'm going to tell you what the saddest day of my life was. The Super Bowl, when I watched the screening of The Longest Yard, and I saw Adam Sandler at the screening put his finger in his mouth and put it in the referee's ear. I nearly went back to my room and had a nervous breakdown because I wasn't there that day when they shot that. If I would have been there with that shot, I would have lit the cameras on fire. Do you understand? Because that's The Longest Yard, a movie about convicts. Convicts don't stick their fingers in another convict's ear or another fucking referee's ear. You know what I'm saying? Like all this shit. Like when I saw that style of marketing, I thought The Longest Yard, when we were on the set, they were telling us it was going to be marketed a different way. When we got there, it was marketed completely different. And that broke my fucking heart, you know. Spider-Man was marketed how they said it was going to be marketed. You know, I was a Spider-Man guy when I was a kid, but after you're 13, you discover titties, there's no more Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? After you discover that little monkey, there's no more Spider-Man in your life. You can't show up with the girls and talk about Spider-Man. So I lost the Spider-Man thing. And then when the first movie came out, believe it or not, I went to see the first one. I went on a date with my wife. I said, let's go see Spider-Man. It was kind of, I liked it.
I liked it too.
I liked it.
Spider-Man 3 ruined me for life.
How bad was Spider-Man 3?
Oh, there's a scene where he's dancing, like he's like bouncing on chairs, like Peter Parker, like being all romantic, and it just crushed me.
It was over.
It was over after that.
I can't get into that series, Spider-Man, with Tobey, whatever, Maguire. And I can never get into...
the new one's horrible. The new one's like Twilight Spider-Man.
And there's two new ones. Like there's a Spider-Man, and then they just remade it again.
I won't watch
and then Lord of the Rings. When those came out, I didn't get a job at Blockbuster because I told them I didn't like Lord of the Rings. The manager got real upset.
I like Lord of the Rings.
They're 3 hours long of the same thing.
I can't watch any of those movies. I can never even turn that shit on. To Harry Potter, I call my wife Harry Potter. I call my wife Terry Potter because I come home and she'd be watching that shit. Yeah. I don't even, dog. I have this like Star Trek. I've hated Star Trek since I was a kid. Not because I like the characters. I like Spock. I like I didn't like the music in the beginning as a child. When I was a little kid and I heard that music, it scared the fuck out of me. I don't like sci-fi. I don't like.
Did you like Star Wars growing up?
Nothing. I wouldn't go see any of that stuff if you fucking paid me. It's so weird how it was such a huge part of generations. Like, I didn't know how big it was till Carrie Fisher and her mother died. How many people went crazy over Carrie Fisher, over being Princess Leia. I didn't know who the fuck Princess Leia was. When Princess Leia came out, I was smoking dope, hanging out behind St. Michael's in Union City. I never fell for none of that shit as a kid. Like, even as a kid, I got wise. I would look at the trailers and go, that's not happening. That's not happening. That's not happening. And my friends would go and I wouldn't go and they'd get pissed off at me. You know, my karate friends used to go to those things. I didn't like none of those geeky movies.
Yeah. I was pretty much all the shit you were supposed to watch when you were a kid growing up. Like Star Wars, Back to the Future, Gremlins, Goonies. I watched all that crap. That's all I had. I lived in Ohio. I didn't have anywhere cool to go or anyone cool to rob. It was just like farmland and movie theaters.
No, like I said, I saw, and that's why I'm really surprised at the movies today. Like how I act towards movies today. Like I'm sad about it. Like it really bothers me that I get great recommendations. Some people listen to the podcast really closely listen. And some guys really send me like great recommendations of like what was the last one somebody sent me? that I put it on Netflix, and it was fucking great. I even thanked the guy on like Facebook. That's how
You've watched all the Black Mirrors, right? The new Black Mirror.
No.
You smoke a number and watch the new Black Mirror. Just the first episode. I think it's like an hour and a half long. You'll be addicted and watch them all in a row. Probably they really are mind fucks, and they really do a good job of using stuff that we deal with all the time, like text messaging and security on your phone, and like really relatable.
No, that's
like,
not gonna work.
It's like Twilight Zone.
I don't
nowadays.
I don't want to watch text. You just lost me with text message.
No. That's just an example.
Nobody
Like
gets shot in
Twilight
the head
Zone.
with a text message. I like people getting shot. I love movies. I love simple. Like the other day, I watched The First Wives Club.
What the?
Like I'm one of those dudes. But then I'll watch Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, and then I'll watch. I don't like combo movies where I see them coming. Like, oh, baby, when I close my eyes, that movie. What was that?
Armageddon?
Yeah, you lost me in the middle of that.
I like that
Yeah, I know
movie
you
as
do.
a kid.
Yeah, as a kid, yeah, I
Jesus
know.
Christ. Did you guys have VCRs when you were growing?
I
Like,
still have my VCRs. I still have VHS tapes. That's where all my.
I still got some VHS tapes, like early footage of me doing stand up, hidden deep.
I used to make movies. Like, growing up, we would have a video camera and would use two VCRs to edit them together. Like, I made a movie about carrots coming from outer space called Carrots. You can, they're on YouTube. And it's called Carrots 1, Carrots 2. Doggy Dissolver's another one. But I would just make these short movies. We didn't have YouTube to put it up. So what we did is we just carried these VHS tapes around and go, hey, I brought my movie. You want to watch it? Stupid. You guys are so lucky nowadays. If we grew up at the, having cell phones and stuff like that, do you think you would be doing a lot more comedy stuff, like making films and stuff, like if you were 21 right now?
I don't know. Where I grew up, it's not cool to take pictures or use film. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but it wasn't around.
they don't have tape recorders. Like they didn't react well to that type of shit. They're not Hollywoody. They could give a fuck up. So I don't know how it would have went. They have a school now, like a charter school in my hometown, and one of my best friend's brother runs the film, and they do a podcast called Pizza Time with kids. And
cool.
It's to put the kids through a program of knowing everything, what's going on now.